All right, what up, y'all? It's your boy KJ here, and I wanted to do a very special podcast. Here's why. I have a brand new project, and I've basically been sitting on this record for maybe about a year or so. We did a soft launch about 3 months ago, so the album was available on my website. But like usual, I like to do a Kickstarter because at the end of the day, the reality is you guys are the record label. I've done 10 Kickstarters over the last 10 years maybe, and each one, every time the fans have shown up to support, to make it possible. For those that don't know, I've been with a record label in almost 15 years, probably. So the reality is I rely quite a bit on crowdfunding. And for those that don't understand what crowdfunding is, basically it's just going to the fans and saying, hey, purchase a CD, purchase a fan package, donate if you just want to. And that helps funds the extra expenses of doing the music. So some of those expenses that you may or may not know are like obviously printing up the CD. Some of the expenses are shooting video. Some of the expenses are mastering, adding extra songs, advertising, all the things that normally a record label would do, which you're looking at the record label. And that's where the crowd funding comes in. And so this is something I've seen really effective, really powerful, because honestly, it allows me to go right to the fans, right to the people that have been supporting for a long time. And so Legacy, this project is another one. It's actually the third project that I've had produced by Marty of Social Club. And, one thing Marty does, because I do end up putting out the songs through his label, Apollo, for streaming, he encourages you to be an artist. He is not the typical record label, like, let's make hits, let's make giant blah, blah, blah. He's like, do what's on your heart. I'm here to help support you. He usually produces the whole entire track along with mixing it and mastering it. And he's just been a huge blessing in my life for the last couple of years. And so one thing he does really good is he helps me get out of my head, meaning I tend to be an overthinker. I tend to be an overproducer. I tend to be someone who comes from an old school way of making albums, which, tends to be more, I don't know what to say it is. Basically, he's just like, if it feels good, do it. If it's on your heart, write it. If it feels like you want to say it, say it. And that is actually very freeing as a creative. And so I'm really grateful for Marty. So this particular project, I'm going to walk through some of the songs on here, and with the hopes of this. If you're watching this, if you're seeing this, if you are listening, you're one of my core fans. And I only have about a week left of my Kickstarter. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It is actually the slowest start I've ever had for a Kickstarter. While I've met my goal, the reality is I need about 3 times the amount to really kind of do things the way I want to do. And so as an artist, like, I'm always kind of running the tension of what I want to do that's new versus what people might have known me for 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago even. And so, like, I have a great core fan base that grew up on me, that were kids when I came out, and who have been great to support, but don't have really any connection with the new music, which again is understandable. But also, I want to be able to do, nod my hat to those that have been around since back then. And so I kept thinking of, like, how can I make this Kickstarter extra special? How can I make it like something that's new but old, which is a really hard thing to do. It's a hard line to walk. Hence, part of the reason why I call it Legacy, because this project is about leaving a legacy or looking back on a legacy, or really just hopes of what my future life can be and what a legacy I can leave. And so I'm going to walk through some of the tracks on here. But the other thing that I'm trying to do with the Kickstarter is crowdfund another project called Recovered. Now, just listen to the word Recovered, right? Imagine it's spelled out covered. This works on multiple levels. What I'm basically doing is going back and covering myself, performing, or I should say recording, classic KJ songs that you might have known. I'm covering them, but I'm also recovering them. If you get it, they're coming back with the idea that I can release new music and old music at the same time, right? So, like, here's something from my heart and where I'm at right now. Here's where I'm at in my mindset, my life. And also here's stuff that you may have grown up on. Here's a kind of, I'm not trying to do like these giant 180-degree remixes. I'm not trying to turn the Mountain Dew song into a country song. I'm just saying, here's what my voice sounds like now. Here's an update maybe of the track. Here's maybe some things I look back artistically I wish I could have tweaked a little bit. And, let's go back. Let's go back and forward at the same time. That's the best way I can describe it. So I'm going to walk through some of the new tracks. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to partner with me. If you could go to KJ52 Legacy, just like it sounds, KJ52Legacy.com. That takes you right to the Kickstarter page, and just support one of the packages. Or if you can, just donate. The other reality is that I can't really show you right here, but in this room, I have a small sound system. And when I say small, I'm talking 2 subs and 2 tiny little speakers. And I have a mixer that's about this size. And I use this for outreach stuff. For a while there, I was going into the juvenile detention centers and we were doing stuff inside there. But lately, I've been partnering with a mission, Hoops on Mission, which is a area that it's a mission, local missions. I'm trying to get this out. Local missions with my man Dwayne that we sponsor to do stuff here. So I go out there, I set up music. Provide a sound system for them, and I'm limited. That's just the reality of it is I'm limited in what I can do at this. We can only hit about 50 to 100 people, and then maybe I say 100 with like a grip. That's a stretch. I want to be able to have music that's louder and bigger and can go for more people. That's just really what I'm trying to do, and that's going to cost a couple $1,000s. So that being said, if you are willing to sponsor in any of that way, that would be amazing. It'd be super helpful. I've also been trying to expand the podcast studio here where I'm doing. I've got 2 little lights. That's what's keeping my face semi-warm looking. I've got one awesome Stream Deck camera. I want to expand what's happening here, and I'm also trying to get a I can't remember the name of this video camera, but it's basically where I shot all my last music videos on. Anyway, I'm looking at a couple $1,000s to expand what I'm trying to do. I'm just going to put it out there, and the Kickstarter stuff is what helps that. So please prayerfully consider helping, and it just keeps the music going. Simple as that. You guys have always shown up for all the years, and I know you'll do it again. KJ52legacy.com. All right, nothing to it but to do it. Let's get through some music here. I am going to start with 2 of the first tracks that are on here. The first one is appropriately titled I Am Back. That is, I don't know, this is what I wanted to say. This is actually an older song that I re-updated with a different beat, which ended up being something I shot a video for in my local boxing gym that I attend, and became kind of like a semi-anthem in there for myself and for some of the peeps in there. And so it's just boom bap raps with the fact that I'm declaring that I'm back, right? I mean, this has been a tough couple years, and sometimes even with your setbacks, you have to literally be like, I'm back. I'm not going to be stopped. I'm not going to be put down. So that track is I'm Back.
Yeah. Oh, pardon me. Guess you never thought of me. Last I was singing Hardly, just in some R&B. Aubrey, auto-tune, Cardi B, Party B. But then I realized at 43, here's what it's gonna be. Don't start at me, this ain't even hard to me. I'm covered in the blood now, like when you hit an artery. Calling on your love now, when it's getting hard to breathe. Let the river flood, I can swim now beyond the sea. On an odyssey, that's really kinda hard to see. Honestly, it's hard just being clay up in pottery. Spent my last dollar on the day I hit my lottery. When I laying down my life and then my Jesus said, follow me, follow me. Hallowed be that name, I'm shouting audibly. I'm in the Florida Keys, I'm regulating like it's Warren G. My Bible thicker than a copy of War and Peace. To let it rain and pour, I'm running toward all you got for me. I'm back. That's right, I'm back, baby. I'm back. I am back. You got a corn flow, your videos are porn, bro. You need to put some duct tape all over your cornhole. And you've been warned, though, to stick your Crocs in sport mode and take a little walk right down that little short road. I'm never panicking, your man's is mannequin. If you gon' plan to win, you better gon' plan again. Grab my pen, extend my force like it's Anakin, and hang with my friends like I'm Jennifer Aniston. Hand it in now, you could never harm me. You ain't even hard, sucker, you're more like you hardly. Why you playing with Barbies just in an RV? You look like you eating Arby's watching Cars 3. Sorry, not sorry, man, I'm blasting off. You ain't got the hammer cocked, all you do is act it soft. Man, I've been rhyming since David Stinking Hasselhoff. You ain't got the time, sucker, like a broken Apple Watch. I'm back. I am back. Back, baby. Yeah. That's right, I'm back, baby.
This next one, this was the first single that we did. It was called Huckleberry, and there's no other reason why we called it Huckleberry except for that was just the name of the beat. There's nothing Huckleberry related in this track. This one is really the first line that I say here. It's where I go, name another dude this improved for 30 years, I'll wait. So I was actually pulling that from somebody wrote that about me on my social media, and I was like, wow, I never thought about it that way. And that's kind of how I get inspiration sometimes for my songs. I just take things that stand out to me. And so this is a track Marty's on. We shot this video in one take, literally one take. This is at the Museum of Science and Industry in Tampa, and I just was like, dude, start filming. And I got in the elevator and just started walking. So this is Huckleberry, boom.
name another dude that's this improved for 30 years. I'll wait. Keep chugging on your 30 beers. I'm shedding 30 tears, making sure you heard it clear. Guys got it all handled there, don't you worry, dear. I heard it all, seen the booze and dirty cheers. I'm a man calm, I'm making music now just for my peers. World is in his palms, so tell me now, who should I fear? How can you do me harm? I'm Elijah calling down the bear. I'm okay being unpopular. Most of what I say goes over your head like a yarmulke. Most of what I play sounds to you like it's blah blah blah. Cause he reigns supreme up in his truth from here to Andromeda. Beyond. Man, this is rapping out for rapping's sake. I still worship God with gratitude just like it's Brandon Lake. I got so many plans with your mans that I plan to break. This is just the song plus the jam I just had to make. Stranded on this earth like Planet 8. Pick the hardest road, that's the one that I just plan to take. Stay awake and you can go on, let the planet quake. Cause I'm just a man, Jesus made a plan now to save. Nothing else that I just plan to chase. Nothing that I plan to face, I already done ran my race. I grab my bike and plus my walk of faith. And everything I write, I make a plan to glorify his name, come on.
All right, this next track is called What Are You Doing? And this one is really unique to me because the origin, the genesis of this beat actually was my 15-year-old son. He's really gotten into production and making beats and writing and things like that. And he had this kind of 808 drums with this little droning sort of synth sound. And I remember he's always playing his stuff. And I was like, wait, stop, play that again. And it just had something about it. It was like an old school kind of Beastie Boys thing, but new. And then I fleshed it out and sent it to Marty, who kind of beefed it up to the version that you hear right now. The chorus where I'm like, what are you doing? Like, that's just something I say all the time to my kids. I'm like, what's going on? What are you doing? Something my dad used to say all the time. And that's where that hook comes from. I wrote maybe 4 different versions of lyrics on this one. And it ended up being the last version that's on there was Marty was like, hey man, you're overthinking it. Just have fun. And that's where this verse came from. So this is What Are You Doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, hold it, now hit it. This for the ones who don't get it. Flow so wicked, roll with no limit. Flow so vintage, roll, go with it. No kidding, man, the world's a bad fit. So I just woke up from being a bad kid. We broke up, had a bad split like Angelina, Jolie, and Brad Pitt. Now be living in the ogged out era. Still a kid when I turned 5-0. Ever since I was a poor guy, found a new way to live and it turned all clever, but ain't you know I'm local home.
All right, this next track is called Trauma, and I thought, what would it be like as if trauma could speak to you, right? What would trauma say if you could have a conversation with it? And so that's where this kind of song comes from. It is me going back and forth. And honestly, I wrote some of this verse based on what's happened in my life in the last year or so with my mom and her battle with dementia and, how that's affected me. And, I go into this a little deeper on the next track. I'm sorry, in the song called It All Works Out in the End. But I wanted to write something for the battle that probably happens in people's minds when it comes to traumatic events, traumatic situations, traumatic circumstances. So here you go.
Name is Trauma. Hello, my name is Trauma. My name is Trauma. Hello, my name is Trauma. Hello, my name is Trauma. Thought I'd let you know that I be living in your head and I ain't gonna let you go. I be coming in your thoughts when things is going slow. Got you spending all your dough on therapy till you go broke. Now it's time for you to roll, so would you please leave? Cause you just tease me and you won't release me. And then you squeeze me like a cheap suited 3-piece. But Jesus did a clean sweep of my life, he told me be free. Be free. Oh my, I just stopped by to say hi. You think I'm a lame guy, believe in the same lie. It's time for you to exit stage right, I gotta change mine. Time for you to say bye, I gotta change life. I'm here to fill you up with self-doubt. I'll make you paranoid now when they just wanna help out. Make you go and avoid all the things you felt about. And when it all fell down, I'm the one that caused the meltdown. You're welcome. What's his name? My name is Trauma.
All right, this next one is called Things Are Going Great. It's actually Things Are Going Great Part 2, because obviously my last project was called Things Are Going Great. This is just rapping for rapping's sake, but I had to kind of also tweak the hook because the previous project where I talk about things are going great, I was saying that very sarcastically. This time around, I'm basically saying like, hey, things are actually getting better. Things are going great. And it's all about perspective. You could say things are going great sarcastically, or you can be like, things are going great. It's really in the tone. It's in the mindset. So that's where this track comes from.
Now, when I was barely saved, I barely prayed. Peter Parker looking every day just for his Mary Jane. This ain't something I can make up like it's Mary Kay. I got my blessed head one direction like it's Harry J. And Jesus is really ain't very vague. Plus he coming back for you that'd be a scary day. I'm John the Baptist when I'm prepared to wait. That's when I'm prepared to pray. You know I stay prepared to wait. Man, I never had to repair my faith. You can ever base it on something that's very fake. I kill my flesh, then prepare the grave to the God that loved me, who went and gone, repair the gate. So take your beef and let it marinate, or wind up in a tragic fate of death like a Sharon Tate. I share the cake, I got more to say, but now my life is good. Plus my God is great, that's why things are gone great. Things are gone great. Things are gone great. What else could I say? Things are gone great. Used to put the R, now an awkward. 6'2", I'm shaped up just like a tall bird. In the pew, you can catch me at the altar, chewing on the word like you's chewing on a starburst. Brand new like my shoes, plus I'm all pure. You wanna cruise up to heaven, you gotta call first. Better bet it'll get all worse until you just go ahead now, put him all first. Cause I was the one that is called cursed. Sometimes you never learn to run until you fall first. Man, I was living on the wrong search. I'm back in my bag like 10 hands in a small purse. You can't brag in a tall hearse. I converse with a verse in my Converse. Sitting back as the world turns. So get off the wall, my man, if you at the concert. But things have gone great. Yeah, things have gone great. Things have gone great. What else could I say? Things have gone great.
All right, this is one of the last songs I wrote. It's called Legacy. This is, I love this beat. I don't know how this is any other way to say it except Marty just put his foot in this beat, man. You know, I say like on this line, like, how will they remember me? Will it be for filling 20 songs up with F-bomb obscenities? Nah. Like, I don't want to be remembered for, I want to be remembered for things that I did that spoke life into people's life. And that's where that came from. I actually wrote this one up in Michigan. I took a trip a couple months back by myself and ended up basically writing and picking out the plot for my mom. This is before she passed. I was doing this more of as like a therapy trip. You know, that's the best way I can put it. It was a prayer trip. I fasted and prayed. And so there's a couple songs that actually came out of that trip. So this one's called Legacy.
That's my legacy. That's my legacy. That's my legacy.
How he get older, rhyme younger just at the same time. How he get bolder, spit hung up in the same rhyme. Now I done told you it all crumble, yet a straight climb. Cause I believe the best things in life that take time. My Lord died, I was horrified just by the hate crime. That's why when I wake up, seeing your face to make time. I see your grace, I ran away and yet you came by. Now every day I'm calling on your name like it's FaceTime. Faith climb, change live and a change mind. My time is money, so why would I ever waste mine? My life is sunny, Marty, bring it about the same vibe that's with the baseline to make you feel it in your waistline. I know I act dumb, but somehow I stayed wise. Stay with the same wife, I roll with the same tribe. And 30 years just down the line, I'll be the same guy. Cause I stayed on my knees and prayed for pieces when I came alive. That's legacy. That's my legacy. Legacy. Now, that's the legacy. So, how would they remember me? What was my tendency to fill 70 songs up with F-bomb obscenities? Nah, will it burn or last longer than the Kennedys? Is the respect I earn, will it turn just into currency? Or will they remember me for bringing out a remedy and setting out a table, keeping Jesus at the centerpiece? You can send a beef for me, I just tend to speak and chuck up a peace sign, then I move it like a centipede. My Lord only sends the weak, so don't claim to be strong when I know that he's sending me. I just claim to move on and then I let him lead and taste and see that he's good bones and take the recipe. So presently I'm knowing what my treasures be. I'm in the heavenly spaces just when I rest in peace. The place I go, I see the one that I had to please, and that's the very definition right there of a legacy. It's a legacy. Yeah. And that's my legacy.
That's my legacy. That's my legacy. That's my legacy.
That's the definition of a legacy.
All right, this next one is called "It All Works Out in the End." This song was literally one of the songs I wrote on that trip, and like I said, kind of alluded to, my mom has had dementia and progressive dementia over the last 5 years or so. She actually passed away last week, finally, from the effects of that. And, I might do a separate podcast at some point, kind of diving into some of that. I don't know. I'm still in a season of mourning, just to be honest with you. In fact, actually doing this podcast right now is really helpful for me to walk through some of the things that I'm going through right now. Here's basically what happened. In a very short way, I'll say that me and my mom didn't see always eye to eye on things of faith. And I moved out when I was 18. And so there was a disconnect in a lot of ways, even though she lived about 10 minutes away from me. And so for the last 5 years, I was basically having to go over there and check on her and see how she was doing. And without going into every bit of detail, the progression of dementia is just a horrible thing for people to watch. And as I took that trip to Michigan, I met with a family that I've known for a very long time, and the wife had gone through something similar with her dad. And while we were out eating, she kind of was like, "Well, how you doing?" Da 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 da. And I'm like, "I'm great. I'm okay. I'm coming to grips with it." And she basically read between the lines. She's like, "No, you haven't." She's like, "Have you said everything you wanted to say?" And I'm like, "There's nothing left to say." Again, I'm just avoiding what is the inevitable. She's like, "You need to go and you need to write down and say whatever you want to say, because otherwise you'll be regretting it." And that's exactly what I did. And I really couldn't write what I wanted to write. It was like a writer's block. And after that conversation, after prayer and seeking the Lord, I went down to this little river in the town and I wrote these lines out. I wrote these words out. And I think what I was trying to do is what I've done for many times, is to have honor and also to have honesty. You can tip the scales one way or the other if you're not careful. You want to be too honoring, you're not being honest about something. You're being too honest, then you might not be honoring. And I was trying to thread the line of that in this song. And the weird thing about, again, this song is that I didn't have a track to write it to. My son, again, my 15-year-old, had written a beat, which was just kind of like a little guitar strum and a drum beat. And it was really simple. And there was something about the simplicity of it that really brought out what I was trying to write. So ironically, my 15-year-old inspired the music to help me write the song that was this song to my mom. And, again, I really wrestled with even just playing it for her. I wrestled with even saying it to her. And on one of my trips to visit her, again, in her dementia state, I was able to read these lyrics to her. It was really hard for me to do that. It was very hard. I was very vulnerable, very painful. And it actually brought her to tears in a good way. Like, even in her dementia state, she was able to discern the heart behind the song. And that was very healing for me. That was very connective for me. And then about a week or so ago, the day before she was going to pass, which again, I didn't know she was going to pass the next day, but the nurse was like, "If you got anything to say, you better come up and say it." So I made that 2.5-hour drive up there and I played her this song. And she was, I don't want to say catatonic, but she couldn't really talk. She was laying there. Her eyes were pretty much closed. But when I started playing this song, I could see her start to react. She would open up her eyes more. She would make noise. And I just knew in my heart that this was the finality of what I needed to say and or what I needed to do. And the beauty of the song is that when she, again, my mom would come, she would mostly come to church with me when I was speaking. And I don't speak all the time, but she would come and she would watch. And honestly, she would be so proud of me to be a speaker. She would come and take pictures of me in the aisleway, and it was like a concert or something to her. All that to be said, again, probably for really the whole time we didn't see eye to eye on the gospel or things of that nature. It was actually her caregiver about a year or so ago that she moved in with that was able to lead her to the Lord. And that is why I say, in the last minute you said that prayer in the very last minute, it all works out in the end. And that's kind of my way of saying, look, this has been a painful experience. This has been a long time going, but we don't see things in light of eternity. We don't see things often in the bigger picture. And that helps me understand that it all works out in the end. So here it is. All right, final song is called End of an Era, and I wrote this basically like kind of what it was saying. I'm speaking a little sarcastically, but I'm basically saying it's the end of an era, meaning, again, back to legacy. The era that I came from has ended. I just have to be realistic about it. There's no sense hanging on to the past. You can always look to the past. It's that rear view, front view mirror, analogy, meaning we look through the front view to see where we're going, and every once in a while we glance in the rear view. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, if you try to drive your car and you're always looking in the rear view, you're going to crash, right? But you do need to always see where you've come from. So that's where it comes from. It's end of an era.
It all works out in the end. mom, the song I wrote just to tell you that along with a strong conviction, just to help you. But the last visit, I just missed it and it fell through, and you're fading out now. But I'm going through my hell too. The house is empty, you ain't here. You up and left me, you ain't there. My heart is heavy, I'm not prepared to say goodbye. Plus it's getting really now hard to bear. Looking back on the years plus the tears, I can see it all clear now that we was both scared. That's a word that we don't wanna hear, cause when your life now hurts, even the good feels weird. I wanna make it clear now what I'm saying here. In spite of all this, you know that I love you, yeah. God took every single tear, every single fear, wiped it all away so I can stand here healed. It all works out, it all works out, it all works out in the end. Remember the time when your cigarettes went missing? I had to lie cause I was the one that hit them. You got mad now that I was the one that did it, but I felt so bad, I just wanted you to listen. We here now, we are both sitting, mother wound so big that we could both fit it. And as a kid I used to keep it so hidden, but I found the one thing that we are both missing. You said my son got religion, I say that your son got risen. I found a peace, but you would never listen. How could we live so close and yet we be so distant? Now your life is soon ending, but I'm gonna see you up in heaven. Cause at the very last second when you prayed that prayer in your very last minute, I knew it all works out in the end.
All right, y'all. Well, that is the project. It's called Legacy. Again, kj52legacy.com. There's about a week left. It would be super helpful if you would head there and just support. It basically helps this happen. It helps me, helps fund future ministry stuff, and it helps fund more music. So if you want to hear more music from KJ, support. Simple as that. So thank you again. I appreciate it. I know it's a little different podcast than I normally do, but it was kind of necessary to do. So love y'all. Appreciate y'all. One love, one God, one way.